What's up, everybody? Rattlehead50222 here again, and I've had some people ask me. I've had some mixed sayings about the record 13. I've said it's blown, then I've retract that statement. Said so. Today, I'm actually doing an official review on 13 to get the story straight. And 13, the record I am going to review today, and so everybody knows my take on it, especially since Super Collider just came out. Comparing it to Super Collider blows it out of the water, I think. There is some gems on 13. Let's go from the artwork to the songs. I think the front cover is really, really cool. It actually goes back. I thought this was going to be Megadeth's last record. I truly did. But I also thought that about In-Game. The way it just, In-Game, is what it is. They've been making records so long. Every time they come out with a record, I get nervous because I think my band, they're done. They're over. This is probably it for them. And they surprised me, and they just now got this big boost with Universal Records. And I believe we're going to see at least 2 more, hopefully 10 more. Shit, I hope they make music like the Rolling Stones to the day they die. But I think the artwork on the front's cool. I really dig the candles. How Vic's turned around. I really like how they incorporated all the records on the actual disc. With all the albums. How they got the little signs, like the rest in peace with the little gem and fucking all that. I really think that was cool. I like Vic in the casket. But it would look like, since it was Megadeth's last record with Roadrunner, I think they just, was just basically wanting to get done with Roadrunner. I don't think that they, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a bad album. It's not a standout album. After United, Abominations and 13, in In-Game, I thought they're right back where they were in the 90s. That I thought, wow, how can you reinvent yourself all over again 30 years later? And they done it, man, and they do it well. And Megadeth has a lot of good records, and they have a lot of awesome records, and they have some fair records. And the fair records, which is Risk and Cryptic Writings. Cryptic Writings is actually has a whole lot more better tracks on it than Risk. The problem with Risk is they recorded it in Nashville, Tennessee, and they took the advice from some jackass that said, let's make a country Megadeth album. And, I believe Dave had just got clean and thought, well, okay, let's try it. My wife likes country music. Anyways, this is about 13. Artwork's kind of cool. It's kind of plain. But it's still cool. The CD cover, the actual CD, I actually like the CD artwork better than I like the artwork on the album. And then underneath the CD, where you got Vic, and you've got, Vic, and then you've got 13, then In-Game, and then it goes all the way around the circle. And if you go clockwise, you got Killing, Peace Sales, this, that, and the other, and so on. I think that's really neat. Let's start with the tracks, man. Never Dead was originally released in 2010. It was on Guitar Hero, Warriors of Rock, I believe. But it was a Guitar Hero track. It was made way before this album was even attempted to be made. So, they threw it on here, which is pretty cool. It's a hell of a song. It really is. I really liked it. Again, though, this album was produced terribly wrong. This would have been a hell of an album. A lot of people like it. They're getting a lot of fans with this album. But production-wise, Johnny K did a terrible job. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Public Enemy _1. I loved that song. I thought, and I think they went the kind of that route. Not every song, man. Super Collider's thrashing people. I'm not understanding where all the bad reviews are on that album. The lyrics were lacking, yeah, but other than that, man, Super Collider's really good. I guarantee it, the bashers that listen to it a few more times will gain some respect for it. Some albums you have to listen to it a few times. Anyways, as we go on, Public Enemy #1, really cool, really upbeat track. Lyrics are neat. In fact, this album, the lyrics on this album was cool. This shows Dave's true writing ability. Where in Super Collider, I can understand where the lyrics were kind of weak. But this one, man, Sudden Death, the lyrics of Sudden Death is insane. Public Enemy #1's really, really cool. It's got really good lyrics. Whose Life Is It Anyways was one of those. You got a 50-year-old guy trying to speak to the youth, and it worked because they got a Grammy nomination for the fucking song. So, I thought it was really cool. A lot of folks didn't like We the People. I'm a big fan of Mustaine's political views. It wasn't a powerhouse song, but the lyrics, man, were cool. One of the greatest lyrics. Was on this track, and I'll get to that here in a moment. Moving along, Guns, Drugs, and Money was one of the weaker songs on the album. I really didn't care for it. I mean, it made sense, the border wars and stuff like that. I just didn't care for it. I really thought that, it just wasn't, wasn't that good of a song for me. It wasn't catchy. It was chorus riffs. It just, I don't know. And they did it a lot on this album. And that's the way they're doing it nowadays, though, guys. You get used to it, And the Super Collider's the same way. Never Dead. Now, Never Dead is a killer track. I've said it before. But I believe if it was produced a little better, it would have been... If Andy Sneap was on this album would have been another Endgame, people. I don't think y'all realize that. But it was that close to being that good. I don't know why they switched to Johnny K when they were still at Roadrunner. It made no sense to me. Never Did's cool as fuck. It's heavy as shit. Some of the heaviest stuff they've done since fucking Peace Sells era. But again, there's just something about it, man. It could have been better. And it ain't got nothing to do with the musicianship of it. It's the production value of it. New World Order was another track, was a recycled track off of, obviously it was the Duke Nukem theme, the game, years ago, back in the early 90s, mid-90s. And they redid it a little bit, added a couple lyrics and refreshed it, and it's a good song. It's one of the cooler moments of the album. Fast Lane, I really like the beginning of it, man. It's really fast, it's really quick, but then you get into the chorus, solo chorus, and it gets old really quick. Black Swan's next. Black Swan was another recycled song. It was originally off of the B-side, Japanese version, to United Abominations, and it was, I like it. I mean, I think it's cool. They tweaked it a little bit. It really didn't need tweaking, but it sounds good. It's one of the better produced songs on this album, I think. Record, I didn't like it at all. I don't know, weakest lyrics I've ever heard. I'm not even going to talk about it. I didn't like it. Millennium of the Blind was originally another recycled tune that they actually really slow, really jamming. They made it extremely longer than it was. It was off of the B-side, Euthanasia, I do believe. They tweaked it, man, and I liked the original. It was short, sweet, simple, to the point, and heavy. It's still cool. but again, they did something to it that they didn't need to do. It was good the way it was. They just needed I think they wanted so bad to put 13 songs on here that they just threw the shit together really quick just to get out of Roadrunner's contract and get on and move on. Let's see, Deadly Nightshade, and it's okay. It doesn't seem like it fits this album at all, but it's a cool song. I give it a C. It's different. When you hear the lady laugh at first, it kind of reminds you of Poison Was the Cure, or and but then it doesn't end like that. But it's okay. It's good. And then we get to the final track, which is 13. When I first heard it, I thought, "What's he doing, man? Was he trying to be Bon Jovi?" And then I listened to it again, and it's a cool tune. But again, chorus, solo. It's constantly, they say 13 a million times. 13 times I went, and it just keeps going with that. And they say the chorus, I bet 20 times before the song ends. And, it's like I said, production was horrible. Johnny K fucked what could have been another Countdown to Extinction album, fucked it all the way up. I don't understand why they kept this guy. But now back to We the People. I think this is one of the coolest lyrics. Our founding fathers are rolling in their graves. The land of liberty needs a regime change until you no longer know right from wrong. The Constitution isn't worth the paper it's written on. And that is so true. It's cool as shit. Dude is really in sync with politics and what's going on. But I will say this about Mr. Mustaine. Ever since, I know he's a reborn Christian, and that is great. That's wonderful. He's changed his life. He's gone off drugs. But I do believe that he opens his mouth a little too much and says things a little too much. Now, we always known Dave to say stuff to sell records, and he's always had his opinion of things, and it was a little usually over the top. But here recently, since this album has come out, he has said stuff like Obama has staged the shootings, not just saying it on interviews, saying it live in concerts in other countries, making our country look really bad. And I'm a big supporter of Dave Mustaine. Everybody knows this. If you subscribe to me, I have fucking 10 videos on here about Megadeth, and they're all great. But I'm worried of the fact that the man continues to say shit that like everybody believes in God in one way or another. We're in a time of age where people are separating themselves from religion, which I think is a bad thing, but it is what it is. And for him to say stuff like that, and then make a record called Super Collider when Christianity and science isn't supposed to mix. It makes you wonder where the man's mind is. It makes you wonder, is he really off drugs, is what I think. I mean, I'm not saying he's still on them, but maybe a pain pill or two in there. I don't know, man. I don't know. He's been saying some off-the-wall shit in the past couple of years. And, he automatically switched parties just because. I mean, what did Obama ever do to him to make him hate Obama so much? I'm not understanding that other than his color. I don't know. Because everybody thinks that Obama runs this country. Obama and all the presidents are puppets of of Congress and the Senate. These fucking guys are the evils. Our congressmen can run and stay in office for 30 years. But presidents only get 4 years and 8. 4 to 8 years. If they get elected twice, they only get 2 terms tops. And in 8 years, you really can't solve anything. But if you're in the office for 20, 30 years, you can manipulate things to the way you want it with your party. And that's what's going on. And he's blaming the president, and it's not the president's fault. And I'm not understanding his. He's lost right now, guys. I don't know, but I'm getting way off track. 13. I gave Super Collider the other day a 7 or a 8 point. I'm sorry, and 7.8 out of 10. And I'm gonna give this album a 7.5, just because it could have been great. It was good, but with Andy Sneap, it would have been great. It would have been a phenomenal album. I don't believe the recycled songs would have been on there at all. I believe they would have pushed him to say, "Hey, let's finish this right. Let's do it right." And they did get a Grammy nomination out of it, and that's great. And they'll probably get Grammy nominated for this. Hell, they get Grammy nominated for everything. He should have done 1, 3, or 4 of them by now. But he's never going to be seen in the. Just because he's not top 40, like the Jeff Roll thing with Metallica, he's never going to be appreciated for who he truly is until he's passed away. I hate to say that, but that's the way it is. He's never going to be really recognized as a. I mean, we know as metal fans, but I'm talking about like as a worldwide known in the history books. He's never going to be known as one of the innovators of thrash, of the great guitarist he really is. There's just a lot of stuff that he's not recognized for that he's starting to be, but it's taken 30 years, way too long. And for that, Rattlehead 50222, the Sterling Reviewer, out of here. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, and this has been my official review of 13 and my last review of 13. Thrash the fuck on, everybody. Have a good day. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, and subscribe.